Right. So I'll just explain you like what are themes, and then I'll tell you like what are the things which we are going to cover today. Right. So yesterday I have told that we have got seven themes, seven themes. Right. So let us see what are those seven themes, and I'll just explain you a bit of intro on each of the theme, and then we'll deep dive into each and every theme. So there are seven themes. First theme is called as business case. Okay. So business case. Whenever I say business case, it basically explains or it basically talks about why we are doing the project, right? So and another theme which we have is called as organization. Okay. So organization theme basically explains about roles and responsibilities, right? So because there are different people, I have explained you yesterday that there are seven important people who are in Prince2. So organization team will explain about what are the roles and responsibilities of those important seven roles. But there are not just seven roles, but these are seven important roles, right? And third one is quality, right? So quality is suppose if you see PMBOK or if you see any other standard, there is always something called as scope and requirements. So here in Prince2 we don't have scope or requirements explicitly. So whatever is there, it is marked under quality. So quality basically explains about requirements and how those requirements are being translated into project. So it talks about requirements. So what need to be done, right? So these are three themes which I'm thinking to complete today. So apart from these three themes, we have got four other themes, right? So one is called as plan, and another thing is called as change. Another one is called as progress, and the last one is risk. So these are four other themes which are present in Prince2, but the thing is we are not going to cover all of those four today. We'll be talking about business case, organization, and quality. So that's what is the plan for today. And what we'll do is in between we'll start a conversation on when we can have our next session. So since Sagar might not join all the sessions because he already came for classroom based training. So if I understand correctly, he might have missed 2 or 3 hours sometime in between. So he's just trying to have a recap, or he want to attend those 2 or 3 things. So just in case if I'm sharing videos or something, then I think it will suffice him. Okay, so typically it's three of us who need to decide when we can have our next session. Maybe sometime in the week we can, connect for 1 hour or 1.5 hours, and we can complete at least one theme or one or two themes. So that would also be fine, so that you'll be ready by weekend to take up the examination at least. Okay, so this is what is a plan for today, and let's see how it goes. And let's get started with business case theme. So before starting this, just wanted to ask you if you have any kind of questions with regards to what we have discussed yesterday. Vijay Venkat, any questions? Okay, I think you don't have. So yeah, these are the themes. What I do is, suppose if it is a classroom based training, I'll cover four on the first day or something. That is the reason why these four are highlighted under part 2. So since it is an online training, so we are covering three, and four other themes we'll be covering it on some other day. Okay, so quick thing. So what is present in theme? So if you ask me what is present in theme, then these are the four things which are basically present in theme. So what is the theme, and what are the requirements of theme, and what are guidelines for that particular theme, And if there are any kind of techniques for that particular theme, then we are going to discuss something about techniques. So that is what I have told you in earlier version of managing successful projects using Prince2. We don't have this kind of structure, right? So in 2017 edition, this kind of structure or this kind of categorization is added for each and every theme. So if you see the book, it talks about theme, it talks about requirements for that particular theme, a bit of guidance, related information, and techniques. If there are techniques, then there will be some techniques which will be added. So techniques is basically at a very high level that these are the techniques which can be used, but Prince2 doesn't get into each and every technique in detail. Okay. The style in which we'll be covering this is little different. Okay, so the style is like I'll before going to any theme, I'll just ask you certain questions. Okay, rather not asking you questions, rather I'll tell you what are the things which we are going to learn after completing this particular theme, or what are the FAQs which are present in that particular theme. And then what I'll do is I'll use my whiteboard in order to explain those topics. And then what I'll do is I'll quickly go through the slides. So the amount of time which I'm going to spend on slides is little limited, but a lot of things I'll be writing on the board so that it can help you in order to understand it better. Okay. So if I'm talking about business case theme, then these are 11 concepts which you need to know. Okay, first thing you need to understand what is business case and why is it used, and details of business case, and what are management products. And when I say management products, what are the templates which are associated with that business case theme, and what are types of projects. Should be yes. What are types of projects, and how business case is aligned to each and every one of these projects, and what is difference between project and program, and how is it mapped to business case. Some information about output, outcome, different phases, documents, contents, benefits review plan, and all. So in 1 hour you are going to learn all these 11 concepts under business case theme. So I'll explain each and every topic, and then uh, we will go through slides. Okay, that's the plan I've got. Okay, that means if you know these 11 topics in business case, that means you have got good amount of knowledge and information on business case theme. That's the logic or concept behind it. Okay, so let us understand what is business case and why is it used. Right. You're free to take, I mean, suppose if I'm in your place, then what I'll do is instead of writing notes, I normally write notes. Only important points, like what is that I am covering is what is that I'll write. So yeah, and you can be little smart. Maybe if you are using a system or something, then what you can do is you can take a snapshot of whatever I'm writing on the board, on this white sheet, so that you'll have it as a series of snapshots, and it will be very quick for you when you're doing your review. Okay, so just press print screen or something so that it will be there in your system, and it will be very easy for you to recap. Okay, anyways, presentation I'm sharing. Okay, so first thing is let us try to understand what is business case. Okay, right. So yesterday we discussed about principles, right? So I told that there are 7 principles. Seven. Sorry, I told that there are 7 principles, and CIPLES. Okay, so there are 7 principles. So one principle which we have discussed yesterday is first principle which we have discussed yesterday is called as continued business justification. All right, so business case actually maps to it. So we have themes, right? We have got 7 themes. Yes, yeah. So first one is business case. So business case maps to this particular principle. So everything is mapped. So when I say that there are 7 principles, 7 themes, 7 processes, and 26 management products, They're not different. They are related to each other, and even the roles are mapped to teams and processes and all who will be doing what. So everything is interconnected. So one of the important connection between business case theme and principle is business case maps to a principle called as continued business justification, right? So it's so simple, right? You can see the keyword business, and here also you see business, so that means both are related. And another thing is like right, so let us try to understand why we are actually looking into business case, right? So business case basically talks about justification for doing the project, why we are doing the project, right? So yesterday I have given you a small example. Your a personal example. You want to construct a house, then obviously you will have a justification, right? So why do you want to construct a house? Why can't you rent a house, right? So you have an justification during start, and at least once in a year you will be thinking, right? At least once in a year you will be thinking that whether you need to continue having that particular house or you want to sell it off, based on many things, right? So you'll have a justification during the start, and at least once in a year you'll think that whether you require a house or not, right? So if you got a job in a different country, then you are moving to that particular country for a longer duration of time, 10, 15 years, then you don't want to keep a house in India, right? So maybe you want to sell it off. So that's one thing. So justification should be there at the start, and it should continue till the project is getting completed. So at the end of each and every stage, project manager and executive, well, project manager will document justification, but executive will update business justification, or he may allocate it to project manager. Okay, so first thing is business case. So obviously, who writes the business case? Who is the main person who writes business case? So business case is basically written by a person called as executive, right? So executive is the person who basically drafts the business case, or he's the person who's going to give information on business case. So that's important role of executive. Okay, and another thing is he will initially create business case, but the thing is it may be updated by any person. But if you're talking about accountability, then the accountability lies with executive. Okay, so that's about business case. And another thing is when I say justification, what is meant by justification? Justification is further divided into three terms. One is called as desirable, and second one is called as viable. There can be a spelling mistake, and another one is achievable, right? So justification is nothing but desirable, viable, and achievable. Suppose if you just try to see the synonyms, then, or if you are talking in terms of English, maybe all these three things are synonyms, right? So the meaning might be same or similar, but there is a slight difference between what is meant by desirable, viable, and achievable. Desirability basically talks about cost, benefit, right, and risk balance or risk. And viability basically talks about delivering the products, and achievability basically talks about, okay, benefits, right? So this is what is meant by justification. When I say justification, what is justification? So justification is further split into three things: desirable, viable, and achievable. So this can come for your examination, just a hint, maybe, right? So a question may come asking like, what are the three things which are um, what is meant by justification for business case? Which of the term maps to justification for a business case? Desirable, viable, achievable, or some other term? So what you need to do is you need to knock out the wrong term which maps to justification. Okay. And another thing is business case is not static. It is not static, right? So what is meant by not static? That means it is going to get updated at periodic intervals of time. When I say periodic intervals of time, then it is going to update it at the end of each and every stage. At the end of each and every stage, some people, when I say some people, obviously it is project board and project manager. They will just check. They will just check business case and they will try to update the business case. And mostly the business case is updated by project manager, but it is not mandate. Maybe executive can update business case, or he can give it to project manager, or he can give it to business analyst or anyone, right? So he can delegate that to any member, but the accountability still lies with executive. And normally updation is done by project manager, not necessarily, but it is done by project manager. So this is a bit of intro about what is meant by business case. Okay, so any questions with regards to this? You can take a snapshot just in case if you want to have. Venkat, Vijay, you with me?
Yeah, Praveen. Yeah.
Okay. So this is business case. So what I have covered till now is only one topic. Yeah, I have just covered this one, right? What is business case? Why is it used? Okay. So and let us try to understand bit more in-depth information on what is business case, right? Like some more concepts which are related to business case. So when is it used? When is it used? How does it actually start and all? So details of business case and management products associated with the business case. This is what is the second topic which we are going to discuss now. Okay, I'm deleting this. Okay, so how does a business case start? I told that business case, is prepared by executive, right? So how does it start? So there is someone who is going to supply some inputs for business case, and that information is called as project mandate. Okay, so you can think of project mandate as something like a mail which is going to get from management saying that we have got this particular project, or we intend to do this particular product or something, in the form of a mail, in the form of a short description, that is called as project mandate. So when project mandate comes, then what will happen? Executive, yeah, then executive will pick up that project mandate and he will start working on preparing a business case. Okay, so just a small question. Let's imagine that you work with a small product-based company, and small product-based company, not a big one, right? So your management or someone has got an idea to research or start working on a particular product. So and imagine that you are executive. So how much time will you take in order to prepare a business case? Right, so let's imagine that you know quite a lot of apps which are available in the market at this point of time, which could be related to travel or food, right? So you might be knowing about Swiggy app, you might be knowing about Ola app, right? So which is used for cab service and food service. These are the apps, so simple apps, right? You just click on the app, you will know what are the restaurants which are available, and you can block whatever food you want, and that will be delivered to you. So that's what is the app, right? So it's a simple app. So in order to create business case for such a simple app, business case is so simple, right? It's hardly 10 or 15 page doc, right? So but in order to prepare a business case, it is going to take good amount of time. So when I say good amount of time, maybe it will take 2 to 6 months. Not always, but maybe it will take 2 to 6 months, right? So if you want to start something, in order to make an idea into a valid business proposal, then it is going to take good amount of time, right? Otherwise the length of the document is still 10 or 15 pages, right? But you need to do a lot of research in order to prepare a business case. Okay, so maybe I can say this. Maybe if you are a frequent visitor of KFC or McD or something, you might have seen certain new products inside KFC and McD, right? So earlier in KFC, I didn't visit KFC, but at least in McD or something, you never had any items which are related to egg, right? So there is another product which has been added recently, maybe 2 or 3 years back, that you have got Mac egg, right, and something called as egg roll or something. So it's so simple, right? You can just prepare it and you can launch it. But there is lots and lots of effort, lots and lots of work which is involved whether to launch that particular product or not. And it is based on a lot of surveys, a lot of research. It is not just launched just like that. Okay. So that's what is the power of business case. It is very important. Justification for enhancing a product or developing a product. It can be any product. Okay. So yeah. And when is this business case drafted? Is important question. Executive prepares business case, but I told we have got certain phases. Starting up, we have got certain processes, right? Starting up, initiating, directing, so on. So business case is something which need to be prepared during starting up of project, right? You can't prepare business case when project is completed, half. There's no point. So we have to create during starting up of project. When I say you, it's executive need to prepare business case during starting up of project, and that need to be updated or enhanced over different phases, but it is going to get prepared during starting up of project. Okay. So I'll just tell you because I have already talked about there is some other question which is there out of those 11. So since I've started this, I'll just try to continue it. So initially, a project mandate is shared. That project mandate is converted into business case, right? But obviously, you can't prepare business case just like that because it is going to take its own time. So initial business case is called as outline business case. Again, that outline business case over a period of time will get converted into a detailed business case, and that detailed business is going to get into a document called as project brief, and this project brief is going to get into another document called as PID. PID stands for project initiation document, right? So this is how the documentation will get evolved, which is regarded with this is with regards to business case. Once PID is ready, then all these documents will not be updated, right? Because PID contains almost all the information which is present in the business case. So only PID is updated, not the other things. Okay. So about that's about business case. You can take a snapshot just in case if you want to. Yeah. Okay. So that's what is the second concept which I have told you. Details of business case. I will take something else. Not this one. Okay. Yeah. So, and another thing is now we are going to discuss what are the types of projects. Why we are going to discuss what are the types of projects is because business case depends upon what kind of project we are working on. So I'll just try to explain you what are the types of projects according to Prince2. Okay. So I'm deleting this. So the third part is types of projects. So according to Prince2, there are five types of projects. Five types of project. First type of project is called as compulsory project. I'll give you an example for this. If you have seen quite a lot of financial systems sometime back, year back or year and a half year back, then not no, yeah, year back, then there were different kinds of taxes, right? If you get into a restaurant, there will be different kinds of taxes, or if you're purchasing a product, there are different kinds of projects, service tax, cess, and some other tax, whatever it may be. So it totally depends upon it. So if you're going to a nice five-star restaurant, there will be seven to eight kinds of taxes which are going to get added in onto your bill, right? So then what happened is we have got something called as GST. So when GST came, there was only one tax, right? It could be state GST and central GST. But what I wanted to tell you is, the systems have changed. All the finance systems have changed. So the billing systems have changed, right? So which is mandate for everyone who is doing any kind of who is providing any kind of service. It could be restaurant, or it could be, if you're buying a car, if you're buying a house, or whatever it may be. So those taxes have been translated into different kinds of taxes. So all the financial systems or billing systems need to be changed. That is called as compulsory project, right? This is mandate according to government of India. So that is called as a compulsory project. So it has to be done because of there is some kind of regulation, right? So GST implementation is a project which is called as compulsory project. You can't still charge different kinds of taxes which were existing earlier. Okay, this is one thing. And there is another thing called as, maybe you have seen Windows as well. So earlier we used to have XP, and after that we have got Windows 7. Then after that we have got Windows 8.1, 8.1. Now we have got Windows 10, right? So you have developed your application on Windows XP. Now what you have to do is, when operating system has changed, then maybe you may have to do some kind of changes onto your application. If you're not doing it, then what will happen? Yeah, if you're not doing it, then what will happen? Your application will not work. So based on environment, so what you have to do is you have to do updates, right? So now whatever you're working is called as a compulsory project, because operating system updated, so your application also need to be updated in order to map to that particular technology. Okay, so these are some of the examples of compulsory project. And second kind of project which we have is called as not a profit project. Not a profit, not a profit project. Okay, so what is meant by not a profit project? Example I'll tell you. Like there are some organizations which provide some kind of services. For example, if I'm having a healthcare, a company which provides solutions for healthcare, then what I'll do is I want to give my services, or trail version of software, or a limited version of software to some of the government hospitals which are present in India, right? So I'm just doing it for a charity purposes, or for an NGO. I'm just providing software for an NGO so that it can help them in doing certain activities. So such kind of projects are called as not a profit projects. Okay, so helping an NGO, or providing some kind of support to some people without expecting profits directly, right? So you might know something called a CSR, corporate social responsibility. You might have seen certain organization going and helping orphanages. Why they are doing is that there is a government rule that you have to. There is a government rule which basically says that you have to invest 2% of your profits or 3% of your profits, uh, you know, to some government bodies or something, right? So as a responsibility, that is your responsibility, or your organization's responsibility. So such kind of projects which you are doing are called as not a profit projects. Okay, and again it is mapped to government regulation, or sometimes though there is no government regulation or some things, some people will do it. So earlier in India we had something called as Swachh Bharat. Lots and lots of software company employees went on roads, and they started cleaning the roads, right? So leaving your work, you're not working for that particular day, or half a day or something, but you're going on to roads and you're trying to clean that particular road. So such kind of such kind of activities, such kind of projects are called as not a profit projects. And another thing is we have got something called as evolving project. Okay, So evolving project is something like, maybe I can ask, maybe I can ask Microsoft a question. So uh, maybe I can ask Microsoft a question in 2000, in the year 2000. Maybe I'll ask them. So you know that Windows 10 is quite awesome. So why didn't you do it in 2000? Why you took 17 years in order to design Windows 10, right? So at that point of time, what they have done is they have developed XP, and they made some changes with regards to look and feel, security, and some enhanced features, and they came up with Windows 10, Windows 7, and then Windows 8.1 and Windows 10, and so on. So what happened is Windows has evolved from a particular stage to this particular stage. So before XP, maybe you know that there was something called as Windows 95. I belong to age of Windows 3.1, so I have seen that as well, right? So Windows 3.1, Windows 95 and all. So what happened is it got evolved over a period of time. So such kind of projects are called as evolving projects. Okay, so lot of R&D projects are evolving projects, right? So initially you will create something basic, and after that you try to add more and more capabilities and make that project uh, you know mapping to quite a lot of justifications or problems which are present in the industry. Another example which I can quote is like Google Maps. So when Google came up with Google Maps, it was just a map. The first Google Map application which they have launched is just a map, right? It doesn't contain anything at all. Now Google Map is used for quite a lot of things. If you're looking for a cab, right? So they provide mm, once you book a cab, they will actually tell you where the cab is and how much time will it take in order to come to your place, right? And you can see real-time traffic info, right? And you can actually see those places. For example, if I want to block a resort in Mauritius or something, so what I do is I need not see images, right? So I can go for what I can do is I can just pull out something so that I can get actually the 3D visualization of how that location is, right? So initial map was just a map which doesn't contain any information, but now maps have been enhanced so much that you can plan your travel or whatever you want, anything, for everything you are using maps, right? Maps or Google Earth or something. Such kind of project is called as evolving project. Okay, so another kind of project which you have is called as customer supplier project. What is meant by customer supplier project? Customer supplier project is very common kind of project. So if you see any kind of uh, consultancy companies, it could be TCS, Wipro, Deloitte, or whatever it may be. So customer is going to give you requirements, and you are going to work on those requirements and give him product. There can be some kind of consultancies here and there, but that is what is called as customer supplier project. Okay, all service based companies work on customer supplier projects. Customer requirements, and you're going to provide product based on those requirements. And the final one is called as multi-org project, right? So what is meant by multi-org project? It's multi-organization project is something like an organization may be involved in collecting the requirements, and those requirements may be moved to another organization where development happens. In order to test the quality, it might be passed to another organization where a group of people will be working, and they'll be testing that particular application, and then support might be given by another organization, right? So such kind of organization, such kind of structure, or such kind of organization which where multiple organizations are involved is called as multi-org project. Okay, so these are different kinds of projects according to Prince2. But important point is why we are discussing, right? So why we are discussing about different kinds of projects. Okay, so we are discussing about different kinds of project because for compulsory project there will be a different business case, right? So in compulsory project, the justification will be different, right? So all the financial systems need to be mandated. Financial and billing systems need to be updated according to the government regulation. So the business case is like you have to do it. You are not going to get any money out of it, but you have to do it, right? So for not a profit project, business justification will be little different. You want to do it so that you want to have your organization want to have some kind of visibility in, you know, in that particular area, right? So it could be because of visibility, and another thing is just that the organization want to help people. So that's not a profit project. And the third one is evolving project. So evolving project, so when Google Maps was initially created, maybe the business justification was a little different. Now business justification is totally different. So of course it is free for you, but whatever people are using, for example, if it is used in Ola, or it is used in Swiggy, or it is used in different applications, those guys need to pay money for Google, right? And the fourth one is customer supplier projects. It's so simple, right? So when a customer is giving you work, you will have you will be doing that particular work, and you'll be having a business case. So what is that? What is the profit you are going to get if you are doing that for customer? And similarly, when customer is giving you some work, obviously he will also be having a business case. What is that? What is the benefit which he is going to get? What is the problem which is going to be resolved for him? And finally, for multi-organization project, also because of various reasons, they don't want to give it to the same company. They want to give it to multiple companies, right? So that's called multi-org project. So it is because of different reasons they wanted. Suppose if it is a very critical project, they don't want everything to be developed by a single company, right? So you can take an example of a mobile phone, right? So when Apple is preparing mobile phone, or maybe any other company is preparing mobile phone, so they get the processor and chipset from different company, and they'll be getting display from a different company, and these people will be integrating all these things, and finally, it will be given for testing to a different company, right? And finally they'll be uh, you know getting the end product, which is mobile phone, right? So they are giving to different companies because of different reasons. Maybe those companies are competent. Okay, so for each and every kind of project, the business case will be a little different. So for all these projects, you are not going to get money. You have to do it for different reasons. Okay, cool. Any questions with regards to any question with regards to this? What are the various kinds of projects? Okay, fine. So let's move on to next concept, which is called as project and program. Okay, let us move to next concept, which is nothing but what is project and what is program, business case, and how is it mapped. Just in case if you want to take a snapshot, you can do that now. Okay, fourth one, project and program, business case. Okay, so let's see what is the difference between project and program, business case. I told earlier that program might be having lots of projects. So P1, P2, P3, P4, these are projects which are related to each other, and finally they form a program. So this project could be compulsory project, and this project could be not a profit, and this project could be evolving, and this project could be a customer supplier, maybe, right? So when we are dividing a program into multiple projects, so each and every project can be a different kind of project, right? So from here, you're not going to get any kind of return on investment, right? So here obviously it is not a profit project. You are not going to get anything here. You may be getting little, and Here you may be getting a lot of ROI, right? So if it is a part of a bigger program, then you should have a different business case. So just in case if you are seeing only this one, right? No ROI, no ROI, little ROI, return on investment, right? If you're seeing this, then you will feel that why we are doing it when there is no profit, why we are doing this when there is no profit, why we are doing this when there is very little profit. You're doing all these things because you are going to get lots and lots of profit here, right? So you need to understand, uh, you need to understand what are the projects which are associated with that particular program, and each and every project will be having a business case, and program will also be having a business case, and this particular business case should have justification, right? So when I say justification again, we can drill it down to desirability, viability, and achievability, right? So that's what it is. So if you see it as a single project, then obviously there might not be any kind of profit out of it. So you're free to take a snapshot for this, right? So that is what is project and program, business case, and mappings to it. Now let us see what is meant by output, outcome, benefit, and disbenefit. So they all look similar, right? So let us try to understand what is the difference between all these terms, right? So output, outcome, benefit, disbenefit, right? So let us try to understand about this. Maybe I'll just give an example of a small CRM system, right? And we'll just try to understand what is the difference between all these things. So let us take payroll example, or let us take a small CRM system. So maybe payroll, right? So in your organization, let us assume that yours is a very small organization. Earlier, you as I told earlier, so we'll consider the same example. So you don't have payroll system. So you approach the company payroll, yeah, system. So you approach the company, something like ADP, which provides solutions, right? So yeah, so you have got payroll system in place. Okay, so this particular thing is called as output. Okay, so what happened because of that, right? So what happened because of that is now you are able to easily, oh sorry, easily and efficiently provide salaries to employees. When I say salary, it includes a lot of lots of components. So this is called as outcome, right? Because of this output, you have got something called as outcome, right? So result of that output, what is that you have got? And another thing is benefit. So benefit is, maybe you can just say that earlier in your payroll department you used to have 10 employees. Now because of this particular software, you don't require 10 employees, you just require 2 employees. All the other things will be taken care by software. Okay, so benefit is nothing but the amount of salary which you are giving for 10 employees, you need not give it for 10 employees. Now you can just give it for 2 employees, and maybe you can utilize remaining 8 employees some other place, right? So this is what is called as benefit. Benefit is that, like, the employees count have been reduced. So count has been reduced, it means it means obviously you need not give salary for all those 8 remaining employees. Okay, they can be utilized somewhere else. You need not fire them, but you can utilize them somewhere else. Okay, next thing is what is disbenefit. So disbenefit could be something like, these 8 employees, obviously, who are very good in payroll management, you are asking them to develop a software. So for them, it is not a motivating thing. So motivation related issues for those 8 employees. Okay, this is what is this benefit. So whenever you are preparing a business case, you need to clearly understand what is output, what is outcome, what is benefit, and what is disbenefit. If you don't understand this, then you'll not be able to prepare a business case properly, right? So these are small terminologies. It is, when you prepare a business case, you need to understand this, right? Because these are some of the sections which will be present inside business case. Okay, I'll just put a pause here, and I want to ask you if you have any questions with regards to what we have discussed till on business case. Vijay Venkat, you good? Otherwise, you can just leave a small uh, yeah,
No questions, bro. Thank you.
okay. So now we'll discuss. This is what I have already covered. What are the different phases of business case, pre and post documents. These are the things which I have covered a little earlier, but there is some portion of it which I didn't cover in my earlier, when I was explaining on the whiteboard. So what I'll do is I'll cover that. Okay. So like what are the different phases of business case is something which I have to explain, and pre and post documents I have explained you, right? It's like project mandate is one document. From that, outline business case is prepared from outline business case, detailed business case is prepared from detailed business case. It goes into project brief. From that it will go into project initiation document. So those are about pre and post documents which are related to business case. So now let us see what are different phases of business case. Let us try to understand those different phases of business case. Okay, different phases of business case. Okay, so a business case, what it need to be done is, it is not a single person's job. So obviously, a single person will be preparing it. So business case will be prepared. So that business case need to be reviewed. Business case need to be reviewed. So that business case need to be reviewed initially, and that business case need to be reviewed at um, periodically, so that what will happen is it is updated, right? So second important thing is, this is preparation is important thing, and it need to be reviewed at frequent intervals of time, right? And uh, and that particular business case need, I mean, when the project is completed, when what will happen is, normally when you are preparing business case, you are not going to get any kind of benefits in between, right? Benefits will be benefits for that particular project will not be realized in between. For most of the projects, benefit will be realized at the end. Suppose if you are developing, as I said, if you are developing a business case for Google Maps or something, then what happens is, you'll not get benefit when the product is being prepared. When it is when it is completed, maybe it will take its own time, so that it will get into market, and everyone understands what it is. Then slowly what will happen is, it will start generating some kind of benefits. So normally after delivery of project, maybe after 1 year, sometimes you're going to get real benefits. So normally benefits are not realized, right? So in a project life cycle, so initially business case is prepared, and it is reviewed at different portions. reviewed verified Verified, and finally you are going to get benefit sometime at this point of time, right? So these are this is path of business case, how the business case is actually evolved, and when you are going to get benefits and all. So all these contents like output, outcome, benefit, disbenefit, when you are going to get benefits, all those things will be present in business case. Okay, these are different phases. Okay, Now, I'm not going to discuss about what are the contents, because when we go through slides, we are going to discuss what are the contents which are present inside business case. I told business case, right? But when you want to prepare a business case, you need to understand what is the template all about and how to fill it. Okay. And contents of benefits review plan also we'll see later. Roles and responsibilities also we'll see later. That means when we are going through the presentation, we are going to cover all these topics. But I just want to tell you what is meant by benefits review plan. Okay. So benefits review plan. Let's try to understand what is meant by benefits review plan. Okay. So normally, you know, this happened in one of the organization where I have worked, and what we were trying to do is, we have a customer who is actually from ag background, right? Agriculture background. So agriculture background, don't imagine that he's farmer. Agriculture background is like, these are the people who provide uh, various kinds of solutions to agriculture industry, like providing them some apps, or providing them some fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides and all, which is very very big industry in the world, right? So there is, yeah. So when they came up with some kind of problem statement, we basically asked, what are the benefits which you are giving to it. They basically, sometimes what happens is, some customers will come up with pain points. They say that, we are not able to do it. I mean, we are not able to control it. We have got lots of customers everywhere in the world. But the thing is, we are not able to track it. They are not able to help us provide information and all. So they come up with certain kind of pain points. Then what you are going to do is, you are going to provide them some solution, right? So that solution should resolve all the pain points. That means this solution should have some kind of benefit, right? So some of the consultancy organizations, what they do is, they will provide something. I mean, if someone is coming up with a problem statement that they want, a tracking system, they will say, yeah, right now we are not able to track all these things. We want a tracking system, right? uh, then what will happen is, like, what I've said is about agriculture, insecticides and pesticides. If you see villages and all, there will be lots and lots of shops where these insecticides and pesticides are sold. In India, if you see, there could be thousands and thousands of such kind of shops. Maybe you will not find such kind of shops in cities like Hyderabad and Bangalore, but there will be lots of shops. So yeah, so they'll be selling these things to farmer. But farmer is normally, at least Indian farmers, if you see, they don't have much of knowledge, right? So how you can educate that particular farmer to buy proper pesticides at proper time, so that it will be benefit for him, right? So if he is using proper pesticides, his yield will increase. And if the company is going to provide information to them directly, like what is that they have to use it, then what will happen? Company's profitability will increase, mutual benefit, right? So benefits review plan is something like, where you try to draft all the benefits, like saying that, if there is a proper tracking system, then I can explain what pesticide and what insecticide that need to be used, how these industries, giant industries, can directly interact with farmers who are in villages, right? So people come up with such kind of problems. So my company is, billion dollars company, but the thing is, I'm not able to provide any kind of services directly to farmers. So can you come up with a solution which, so that I can interact with the farmers, right? So what we do is, we'll just try to understand what are the benefits which they are going to get because of this particular solution. So we'll just try to write down certain benefits, and periodically you will try to review those benefits in once in 2 months, maybe 2 months, 2 months, 2 months. So you will ask, what are the benefits to the person who came up with the problem. So he'll write 5 or 6 points. So after 2 months, you will ask him whether any kind of benefit has been realized. Again, after 2 months, you are going to ask him whether any benefit is realized. Normally, the answer will be no. When you deploy the solution, then again you'll ask him whether he got any benefit. So he might get some kind of benefit at that point of time. Maybe after 1 year, again he will get a lot of benefit out of it, right? That is the reason why if you see any kind of company's website, you will see something called as testimonials, right? Suppose testimonials. So some customer says that Accenture has provided them some kind of solution. Now they are able to do this one, and they are going to save a lot of money because of that particular solution. Okay, so those are nothing but testimonials. Okay, so benefits review plan is basically used in order to document benefits, in order to track them, in order to make sure that benefits are realized. So obviously there will be customer satisfaction. That's what is benefits review plan. It's very simple. It's in the form of Excel sheet or Word document which need to be prepared and reviewed at periodic intervals of time. Okay, so this is what is present in business case. This is what is present in business case. So I have explained you almost everything, but the thing is, I might not have explained through slides, but I have explained through whiteboard by taking some kind of simple examples. So now I'll not spend too much of time on slides. I'll quickly run through slides and I'll try to give you a recap of what I've explained over whiteboard. Okay. Right. So definition and purpose, I think I have told you about this. So desirability, viability, and achievability, these are three important things for a business case. Okay, and it is not a static document, it need to be updated. So there could be a question here on desirability, viability, and achievability. Okay, and another thing is details on business case. So I told business case, when business case is basically prepared initially, what is business case, who is accountable for business case. And there are two management products which are mapping to business case. One is called as business case and benefits review plan. So if you see those 26 management products, right? So we'll see these something called as business case and benefits review plan, and one of the these are the two things which you will see among those 26 management products. So it's mapped. Projects and reasons. So I have told that there are five kinds of projects uh, according to Prince2, but there could be, you can classify projects into many other categories, but these are common kinds of projects which are available. So compulsory, not a profit, evolving, customer, supplier, and monthly or. So I gave few examples on what are these kinds of projects. And why we are discussing about these projects now is because for each and every kind of project, there will be a different business case, right? So I told you what is project and what is program and how they are related. So if a project is part of a program, then that particular project might not be having benefits, but as a program, this program business case should be having some kind of benefits or profits or return on investments. Okay, and I explained you what is meant by output, outcome, benefit, and disbenefit. Maybe I have given you an example of payroll system. So in the slides, you are going to see some example called a CRM system. So output, outcome, benefit, and disbenefit. So you have to consider disbenefit also, because when you are preparing a business case, it doesn't always have benefits. It will have disbenefits, right? So someone is constructing flyover, or sorry, not flyover, metro rail in Hyderabad, right? So there are benefits, obviously, lots of traffic might be reduced, but what is the disbenefit? It is incurring a lot of cost, a lot of inconvenience to people currently commuting from one place to another place. So that's disbenefit. And maybe lots of things have been destroyed which are falling in that particular path. Okay, so another thing is, one second, just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry, man. I got a call, so I have to take it. Continuous calls. Okay. So, yeah. So, path for creating and maintaining business case. This is what I have told you. When a business case will be created, when it will be maintained, and when benefits will be confirmed. This is what it is, right? And right. So, some important things like who will be preparing business case and who is being asked to update that business case, right? And why that particular person is being asked to update the business case, and what is the path of the business cases being mentioned in this particular slide. So I told ultimate accountability for business case is executive. So executive is the person who basically prepares business case and updates business case. Okay, so normally he will delegate that to business analyst or project manager, because project manager, what he will be doing is he will be interacting with a lot of people on daily basis. So this guy will have list of certain things like risks, cost, right? He'll be having latest information on cost, time, risk, and all, right? So all these things will again get into business case, because when business case need to be updated, this information has to get updated. Okay, so normally it is advisable that project manager updates the business case, because he has latest information on what is happening in the project, especially related to cost and risk. Okay, business cases, same things. Business case is living document, everything and all, maintaining. And this is what I have told you. From project mandate, outline business case will be created. From that, detailed business case will be created. From that, project brief will be created. From project brief, PID will be created. So the question which I can ask you and answer, maybe, why these many documents, right? So if the contents are same or almost same, then why can't I directly prepare PID? Why I'm getting a project mandate, why I'm getting outline business case, why I'm getting detailed business case and project brief and then PID, right? You can't prepare PID because initially you can't prepare PID, because though you prepare a PID, lots and lots of fields which are present in PID will be empty. So slowly documentation will be evolved. Similarly, slowly product will be evolved. You can't get everything at the same time, right? Slowly you will evolve it. Maybe initially you will prepare a POC. When the POC is okay, then what you will do is you will prepare, a small feature in that POC. When that particular feature is okay, then you'll jump on to another feature and so on. So that is the reason why you'll have a lot of documents, or because they are getting evolved. And another thing is, another important thing which I wanted to tell you with regards to document is, like, it is intended for different people. So I can't give, maybe I can give business case to 10 members, maybe I can give PID to 100 members, or maybe 5 members, right? So there will be some confidential information which is present in business case that can't be shared to everyone, right? So that is the reason why a document is translated into another kind of document and so on, and the final one is shared to someone else, right? So that is the reason why you have different kinds of documents which are going to evolve by adding some contents and removing certain contents, right? Obviously, you might be knowing how much your company will be getting if you're working in your company, right? If you're working in your company, maybe your salary could be 2 lakhs or something per month, but company might be getting 5 lakhs out of you per month from different people, right? So if you are seeing that, then what will happen is, you will obviously, yeah, I know that you are mature people, you know that, but let us assume that with the help of fresher, uh, for whom we are just giving 10,000, company is getting 1 lakh per month. So obviously he'll not be happy, because he will assume that company is surviving because of him, and he's paid less. If he's seeing certain confidential information related to projects, especially related to costing, so he might not be happy. That's the reason why all documents are not exposed to everyone. Yeah. So contents of business case. So these are some of the contents of business case. I mean, if you want to prepare a business case, then these are all the contents. In business case, there is a section called as executive summary, reasons, business options, you know expected benefits, disbenefits, time, cost, investment appraisal, major risk and acceptance criteria. right? So we discussed about this. In summary, what you are going to write is like, what is this business case all about? What are the options? What are benefits? What are disbenefits? How much time will it take in order to deploy that particular project, like Google Maps? How much cost it will take? Investment appraisal is nothing but, if someone is having an MBA background or commerce background, they know this. There are different things. One of the common thing which we are going to talk about is ROI, return on investment, payback period, or net present value. Okay, so these are some of the IRR is another thing called as an internal rate of return, if I'm not wrong. So these are some of the ways in which you are going to measure your profitability. And some people, these days, obviously, they talk about EBIT, earnings before income tax, right? So different ways of representation in order to showcase the profits or return on investments are all these things. What are major risks, right? And what is the acceptance criteria? So all these things will be documented inside a business case. Okay, so normally if it is a classroom based training, and then I'll ask them, if I have got a lot of female population in that Prince2 training, then I'll ask them, what is your business plan? Just in case if you're not working in the organization, so what is the business you want to start? And a lot of women tell me that they want to start a baby daycare center, right? Somehow, I don't know why people want to start that, but then I'll ask him what is the justification. Can you prepare a business case for that, right? So they will come up with a business case saying that in my organization I'm getting this salary. If I'm having 10 kids in my baby daycare center, then I'm going to get this money. And if I'm putting in Madhapur or Kondapur, which are hotspots in Hyderabad, then they are going to get a lot of money. Okay, so you have to prepare some kind of business case in order to understand whether you are going to get really profits or not. So to be frank, you can prepare a business case for Prince2, right? So Prince2 training. So what you are going to get if you are trained and certified, right? Maybe you might be getting a little bit of more salary or a more efficient way of doing your work, more efficiency. So you need to put it, right? Maybe you can be little different from the entire population. A project manager who is not certified and the project manager who is certified, there will be certain kind of difference for sure. Okay, maybe you can prepare it. So just in case in future, if you want to start any kind of business or any kind of small organization or startup, or you want to start up your entrepreneurship career, then maybe what you can do is you can prepare business case. So very important thing is when you prepare it, then you'll come up with a lot of points. So a lot of things will be running into your mind, but when you put it on paper, then you'll know the real stuff, right? Simple. When you're writing examination, so initially you'll assume that you have read entire book, you know entire things. But when you write examination, then what will happen is you'll know what you know. Okay, so it is always good to put it on paper, not on paper, but maybe you know in the form of word doc. So benefits review plan major, whenever you see something called as plan. So most of the plans, the accountable person will be project manager, right? So benefits review plan is basically talks about what are the list of benefits and when they will be realized, and how these are mapped with profits and all. Okay, so benefits review plan can be in the form of Word document or Excel sheet with benefit description, who is the owner, how to measure it, what are resources, what is the baseline, on what baseline you are calculating all these benefits and all. Simple. So contents of business case and contents of benefits review plan. So what I'll do is by today EOD or tomorrow morning, I'll share you all the templates of Prince2 so that you can have a look, right? So you need not worry about remembering all these contents. Prince2 has already given templates. I'll share you all that.
Okay.
And executive. So executive is the main person for business case, and right. So for business case, so business case is a theme, and business case is also a template. Okay, so you shouldn't get confused between business case as a theme and business case as a template. Business case as a management product, name is same, but you have to understand the context. So executive is a person who is basically responsible for business case, and senior user is a person who basically talks about benefits. Senior user is nothing but customer. He's the person who sees what are the benefits which he's going to get when the product is being delivered. It could be hardware, software product, or anything, right? And another thing is project manager is basically responsible for benefits review plan. He's the guy who's going to prepare a benefits review plan, and what he's going to do is he will go through that with customer, and he'll make sure that it's present properly. Project support, if a project support is available, then that particular person will be involved in creating and updating it. Okay, so normally if it is a classroom based training, I'll give a small assignment on something like based on participants and where they are present, right? Like I told, prepare a business case for whatever thought is there in your mind, or you know or prepare. Some people say that after learning Prince2 they want to travel to some other country, especially Australia. So a lot of people whom I have trained recently, they are getting trained in Prince2 because they want to move to Australia. Okay, so for them, what is a business case? I'll just ask them, what is a business case? Why do you want to move to Australia, right? So it is always good to put that on paper and see whether it is okay or not. So that's what I've got with regards to business case. So with this, maybe I can say whatever the questions which we have taught initially, right? So the questions which we have taught initially, the points which we have taught initially are these 11 points. So I believe we have covered all these 11 points. Now now I think what is business case is all about, and all the things related to business case, right? Yeah, right. So sorry. Okay, so we are discussing about project and program once again is um, because the organization structure will be different. Most of the projects contribute to program, so we have to understand who is the person who is preparing business case for project, who is the person who is preparing business case for program, who is preparing plans and reports for a project, and who is preparing plans for a program. So all these things need to be clearly understood. Okay, next thing is like we'll just try to understand who delivers, manages, directs, what are roles and responsibilities, what are various kinds of reports, what is communication management strategy. So these are all the topics which we'll be discussing in organization theme, right? So the question is why we are discussing about communication management strategies, because when there are a lot of people who are working on a project, then very important thing is communications, right? So who need to communicate with who and when and how? So all these things need to be clear. If these things are clear, then what will happen is project will go smoothly. If there is no communication, then what will happen is project will not go smooth. Okay, so that's about organization. Okay, so same, what I'll do is I'll just use my whiteboard in order to explain you these topics, and then what we'll do is we'll go to slides so that it will be a quick recap for you guys. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so I'll explain you this one. So I have already talked about this. So in project board, basically we have got three people, right? So who are those three people? So project board, right? So project board basically contains three important roles. One is executive, right? And one is supplier. Another one is, sorry, supplier. and another one is senior user, right? So let us try to understand, what are these three roles and what is their primary responsibility is what we are going to understand now, right? So primary responsibility is something like, if you see executive, he is always worried about business, right? So he is basically a person who focuses on money, right? So otherwise, maybe I'll say he's the guy who focuses on value for money. Yeah, we are investing a lot of money. So what is the value which we are going to get it? So what is profitability, right? So he's the owner of business case. So business related information will be taken care by executive. And coming to second role, which is supplier. Some people call it as supplier, and some people will be calling as senior supplier. So supplier role is typically simple because you know. So when I say supplier, maybe we can consider as someone like HR, IT, admin. So all these people are suppliers, right? For example, if you're working on, if you're working in a specific industry, so which includes integration of several components, then those people are also called as suppliers. If it is a product-based company, there will be different suppliers. So suppliers can be anyone whom you are dependent on in order to get the product delivered, right? So examples are HR, IT, admin. You can see, for example, in order to work in your organization, maybe you require internet service provider, right? So internet service provider is also a supplier. So there will be lots of suppliers, right? Suppose if you have building management, so building and also building management is also a supplier. All these people are suppliers because they provide some kind of infrastructure in order to work on a particular product. Okay, there could be multiple suppliers. Maybe you can just consider one person as a single point of contact for all the suppliers, or there will be multiple. Next thing is, let us try to understand who is senior user. So as I told you a little earlier, we consider customer as senior user. Okay, so so basically, senior user is worried about two things. First thing is he wants, he gives you requirements and he's more interested in getting the product done. He's the person who will be giving you requirements, right? Requirements in the sense it need not be elaborated requirement, but at least he will talk about what he wants, right? And this guy is basically concerned about benefits. So, so simple. So these are, I mean, we can go in detail and we can tell on, executive will do this particular activity on this particular date and all, and similarly supplier and similarly senior user. But, we need to understand what is the bigger picture of it. Okay. So that's project board. It's quite simple. So as I said earlier, maybe your organization might not have an executive, might not have a senior user, or might not have a single point of contact for supplier. But the thing is, if you don't have a single point of contact, then it's totally okay. You can map these things to relevant people, right? Okay. So let's move on to next one, next item. Sorry, what is it? Yeah. So we know project board. What are the responsibilities? Now let us try to understand project manager. What is project manager? What is team manager roles and responsibility? And who are stakeholders? So I'll just initially talk about stakeholders. Okay. So who are stakeholders? This is very common term which a lot of people will be using. So stakeholders are people who will be impacted by a particular project. So if you want to use a particular term, then you can use who are impacted by the project, because we are talking about project stakeholders. right? Who are impacted by project. When I say impacted, they could be positively impacted or they could be negatively impacted, right? So let us assume GST is something which came 1 year back or something. So who are stakeholders for that? It's not a of course it's not a project. Yeah, maybe it is a project at that particular level, at the government level, but who are stakeholders? So stakeholders are, typically every person in India, almost every person in India. But who are critical stakeholders? Critical stakeholders could be few, extremely, who are involved in finance area in government, and who are extremely big business people. They are key stakeholders, right? Right. So those are called as stakeholders who are impacted by a project. And another thing is, I want to use another term called as influenced. Okay. So different books define stakeholders in different way, but the sense is same. Who are impacted by a project and who are influenced, who can influence a project, are called as stakeholders. So one of the things which is not part of Prince2, but important thing is, you need to understand, you need to prepare something called as stakeholder matrix. So what is stakeholder matrix? Stakeholder matrix is nothing but identifying all the stakeholders related to your project, and what is their influence level, and who are key stakeholders, right? For example, if you're working on a product, then you'll be having a lot of stakeholders, right? But who are stakeholders whom you need to communicate, who will be affected, and all is a different story. But the thing is, whom you need to communicate. You need not communicate, obviously, GST related stuff, everyone is affected, so government has communicated with everyone, right? They might be asking business people to do some kind of changes in their tax computation, and they might be talking to public saying that you need not pay multiple taxes, you need to pay a single tax and all, right? So everyone has stakeholders, they group it, and in stakeholder matrix, what we'll do is, we'll just categorize based on their influence and impact. Okay. And there are other two people. I mean, that question basically contains not just stakeholders, but there are other two things. One is like project manager. So, what does project manager do? What is the role of project manager? And what is the role of team manager? All right. So, what does project manager do? Project manager, simple thing. Project manager manages projects, right, on behalf of project board. So, project board, what they do is, project board will basically appoint project manager. So project manager will be managing project on daily basis. Daily, what is happening, that is what is the responsibility of project manager. At any point of time, if you want to get total information related to project, then the point of contact is project manager. Okay. So next one is team manager. Okay. So what is team manager responsibility? So normally in our organization, you'll be having project lead or a team lead. So we are calling that particular person as team manager. So this guy will be focusing on deliverables. So an app need to be developed, or a website need to be developed, or a hardware product need to be created. Then what will happen as team manager is a person who will be interacting with all the team members, and he'll be working on that particular delivery or product. So team manager is the guy who is basically works on the product or delivers the particular project. Okay. So we can talk about many things, like I'll share you an Excel sheet also along with the material today. So that Excel sheet basically talks about what team manager will be doing. So what he will be doing and all. We'll cover same thing in processes, no worries. But the thing is that Excel sheet will help you in order to understand who will be doing what. Okay. So if you want, I'll just show you that Excel sheet so that you are aware of it. Something like this. not this one. One second, which is the latest one? This one. Okay. Yeah. So like there are 26 management products. You can see it here. I'll share you this one. So who is accountable for that? For example, business case. We discussed about business case, right? So I'll just make it a little larger. So business case, we discussed about business case. So business case, who is accountable? Executive is accountable. Right? Project board is accountable, but in project board, who is accountable? Executive is accountable. So who will be preparing it? So it will be prepared by executive, but most of the times in real sense, it will be prepared by project manager, right? Because he has a lot of information. And who will be reviewing it? It will be reviewed by project assurance or corporate or something. So very important thing which you need to consider here is preparation can be done by anyone. You need to understand who is accountable for that. Okay, so if I give you this particular Excel sheet, then you'll know what is responsibilities. Suppose if I ask you what does executive do, then you can say executive is responsible for business case. And another thing is, if you see executive anywhere, then you can say that executive is responsible for that particular thing, right? So project board, whenever I say project board, so project board, and again executive is responsible for accountable for communication management strategy, right? So if you see project manager, what does project manager do? So project manager is responsible for end project report and stage report, sorry, end project report, right? And another thing is like he prepares, if you see a lot of things prepared by, so almost all the things are being prepared by project manager, right? So who is accountable, who prepares it, who reviews it? So this information I'll share it with you, so that just in case if you want to write a little bit of essay on who will be doing what, you'll be able to grab it from this particular Excel sheet. Okay, all right. So yeah, so let us again try to discuss something about project versus program, because why we are discussing project versus program is because you need to understand, right? You need to understand what is the difference between project and program. I have already explained you, but the thing is, let us try to map it. What is project, what is program, in a proper way. Okay, so first thing is project, and second one is program. How is it different? I know you understand because we have talked about this some time back. So project is basically driven by deliverables, and this is driven by vision. Program, right? So this will have a proper scope. This will also have a scope, but that particular scope, or because it is a vision, that particular scope changes as per business needs, right? So this will end when you deliver the product. This will end when you deliver multiple products, right? So, and project is obviously for shorter time, and this is basically for longer time, right? So, and another thing is, if we are talking about benefits, you will get benefits at the end of the project, and in program you'll get benefits when few projects get completed, and when program will get completed, gets completed. Okay, so these are important things. Why we are discussing about these things? Because normally in any organization, multiple projects form a program. So there might be multiple executives for different projects, and there might be executive for a program as well. So you should not get confused between who is an executive for project, who is an executive for program. Like I have told you some time back, we have project managers, right? So for me, as I told you, I'm a program manager, senior program manager. So I'm mostly worried about this, not about this, right? So you need to understand this difference. Okay, so project versus program, and let us try to understand who delivers, who manages, and who directs the project. There are three things: who delivers, sorry, who directs, who manages. This can come for your examination. Who delivers? So basically, who manages project? It is project manager who manages the project. And who directs the project? Directing the project is done by project board, right? And who delivers the project? Delivering the project is basically done by team manager, right? So you may get a question asking that who delivers the project? Team manager, project board executive, or some other option, delivery manager. So obviously when you see deliver and delivery manager, you will be tempted to put that delivery manager is what you need to is the right answer, but it is not that. So according to Prince2, it is team manager who is going to deliver the project. Okay, so let us not talk too much about roles and responsibilities because we have already talked about that. But there are some other roles, like I have told that there is something called as change authority, right? And there is something called as project assurance, project support, and all, which we have discussed sometime earlier. But when we are going through slides, we'll just try to focus on certain things, which just in case if I have missed out, then we'll try to cover up that particular role and responsibilities. Now let us try to understand reports. I'll not explain you too much about reports because too much about reports is being covered in progress theme. But let me try to give you some kind of highlight on what is meant by what are various kinds of reports and what is communication management strategy. Okay, so yeah, so first thing is, yeah, we have to discuss about communication management strategy, and we need to discuss about, first we'll talk about communication management strategy. Okay, so what is communication management strategy? Because obviously you have got a lot of roles, lots of roles. Okay, so let us try to understand what are different roles which are in Prince2. I have already explained you. First thing, we have got corporate, and we have got project board, which contains executive, which contains supplier, which contains um, senior user, and we have got project manager, we have got team manager, project assurance, project support, right? And change authority. Again, change authority is nothing but it is a combination of certain people. Change authority, I'll just put it here. So change authority contains, normally it contains project manager plus team manager plus executive plus maybe senior user. So a different kind of combination will form a change authority. So let us assume that this is what is change authority. Okay, this is what is called as change authority. So yeah, so coming back to communication management strategy, so there are various kinds of roles which I have just told you, seven important roles. Or if I elaborate project board, then I have 10, right? So because board contains three, otherwise we have seven. So if I expand it, we'll be having 10, right? So these are different roles. So it is very important to understand who will be doing what. So who will be doing what and when? How is a different story, but will not focus too much about how, but at this point of time. Okay, so who will be doing what and when. So all this information need to be present, need to be present clearly. All this information need to be present clearly, right? So this information will be present in communication management strategy, right? How to communicate and all is very, very important. Otherwise, if this is not, if communication management strategy is not clearly defined, then what will happen is there will be a lot of problems, there will be a lot of conflicts. Okay, so that's what is communication management strategy. Okay, so and another thing is we were talking about communication management strategy, and we are talking about various kinds of reports. So reports are basically used in order to communicate, right? I mean, communication you can do it. Normally, you'll have communications with the stakeholders over calls, right? And with the internal team, you don't send mails, right? Too many mails. Maybe you'll go and talk with them, right? But with a lot of stakeholders who are not, who are not easily approachable, what you will do is you will try to send reports. So there are two kinds of reports. I'll not elaborate too much at this point of time. One is called as time driven and event driven reports. So all these reports are basically sent by project manager. So project manager shares lots of reports uh, to various people. So some reports are time driven and some reports are event driven. So time driven reports are basically like weekly. You might have seen project managers sharing weekly reports, weekly graphs, and to customers, to internal management and all. So those are typically time driven reports. And event driven reports are something like, for example, if a project is having 10 members, two people suddenly resign, so you'll not wait for the end of the week in order to communicate that particular information, right? You will immediately communicate that in a proper format to some people. So those things are called as basically event driven reports. Okay, that is time and event driven reports. Cool. So we covered good amount of topics with regards to organization theme. But before closing this organization theme, I just wanted to show you a communication management strategy. So we can rename it in different way. In one of the organization where I have worked, so we just call it as communication guidelines. We don't want to call it as a strategy. Okay, so I'll just show you that. Uh, right. So I think I'll just open something randomly. There are a lot of communication guidelines which we have. So I'm just opening one. Right. So these are communication guidelines, right? So the only thing is we don't want to have any kind of, suppose financial information, if customer is asking financial information, right? So we don't want the financial information to be shared by any other member apart from account manager, right? So requirements and all, business analyst, planning, project manager, technical requirements, project manager and project lead, right? So critical information and approvals, delivery management, customer feedback, CPI manager, continual process improvement manager and all. So you can see like key communications during initiation. So in initiation, who will be doing what communication? Account manager and all. Key communications during planning and requirements, who will be doing it, right? So key communication during development, key communication during change requests, key communications during feedback, because feedback is also considered to be very important, right? So for escalations, who need to be contacted, right? So communication guidelines will give you a clarity to, if I'm sharing this to customer, then customer will know whom he need to write a mail. So we keep it like this. But who is account manager? When we are sharing it to customer, we will say account manager is ABC with this email ID, right? abc@gmail.com with phone number and all. We are going to give that particular person. Then what will happen is, he will know whom to communicate. Otherwise, he will be having questions. So before start of project, so this need to be clearly set. And some escalation related things also. This is also important to have it. So escalation matrix. So this will be there for support projects. So if you're working on support projects, we need to understand what is escalation matrix, right? Yeah. So if it is an emergency, important, medium. So if you have different kinds of tickets or different kinds of um, we used to work on maintenance projects also. So where customer will post a query and that need to be addressed within some amount of time. So what are SLAs, who need to be contacted, and when. You can see different kinds of people name, and what is their designation, and what is their email ID, right? So that escalation matrix. So first level escalation, second level, third level, final escalation, right? So this is how escalation matrix will be there for different kinds of projects. Okay, so you can have communication guidelines, you can have escalation matrix in a same document or a different document, but that is what is important. And if you're sharing that to customer, and if you have clear cut guidelines, then obviously there won't be too many conflicts. Okay, so yeah, if you're working in a bigger organization, obviously that is fine, because they will already be having some kind of communication guidelines, who need to be contacted and when, right? Just if you're working for a smaller organization which doesn't have these concepts, then you are free to implement it. There will be a lot of buy-in from them, from your management. So now what we are doing is we are quickly going through slides. We're not going to spend too much of time on slides because we have already discussed all these things on whiteboard. So we'll just quickly go through slides and try to understand, if just try to understand or recap what we have actually learned. And if I missed out anything, then I'll cover up in these slides. Okay, so who is executive, who is senior supplier, who is senior user, and all these three people belong to project board, right? You also know project manager, team manager, who are stakeholders, and you also have seen what is communication management strategy, how does it look like. So let us not focus too much on how should it look like. The only thing is, if it is making if it is making sense, you can follow whatever format you want. Maybe you can, if you want to prepare a PPT, that's also fine. If you want to follow you know the template which I've used, you can follow that, or you're free to follow whatever template you want. But Prince2 gives you a template so that you don't miss out anything. But the objective is simple: who need to communicate what and when. Obviously how, but how we are going to see in progress theme. Okay, so as I said, who will be directing the project? Project board. And who will be managing project? Project manager. And who will be delivering project? It is basically team manager. So there will be some kind of questions on directing, managing, and delivering. So I have told you what is difference between project and program. So this one is project, this one is program. I think I have explained you this, maybe in a different sequence, but I think I covered all points. Okay, so let us try to understand this one. These are all the important roles. So you already know about this. Corporate program management and project board, there are three people. I'm telling you this many times because these are the things which will come for examination. If I'm telling you many times, that means it is required many times. And if I'm telling many times, that means it will come for your examination as well. So executive, senior user, supplier, right? So otherwise you have one. So this is 2 3 4. Oh, it is already there. So 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, So these are important roles. There are some other people also apart from this. There are some other people also apart from this, but we'll discuss about some more roles when we are discussing about quality team. Some more roles, not too many, some more roles. So who is executive, what he is responsible for, who is senior user. If you understand the essence of it, it is same. It is quite redundant. Okay. So what does project manager do? What does team manager do? What does change authority will be then doing and all? It is same, essence is same. You may see a couple of more lines here, but they're not different. But if you're getting any examination, any question in your examination, you'll be easily able to tell who will be doing what, right? Right. So who is the person who will be approving changes? Then you say, yeah, it is project board plus combination of project manager plus someone. That's what is change authority. Okay. So I'll just try to tell you a small story about, a small case study about project assurance or importance of project assurance. So, this is around maybe 6 years back. Okay. So what I used to do is I used to work for a company, as medium-sized company. Then in that company we used to have my designation was project manager at that particular point of time. Then yeah, so I used to get a call on every Saturday, right, from one person. And that particular person, what she used to do is she used to collect the status of the project and she used to prepare a report and share it to management on Saturday itself. So that management looks at the report on Sunday and they know what is going on. And finally, if there is anything which is not going okay, then management will typically have meeting with those people, right? So in that organization we used to have nearly 7 to 8 project managers, I believe, or maybe little one or two here and there. So she used to call me and she used to ask me, Praveen, can you tell me what is the status of project A? And I used to tell, yeah, it is going good. She used to mark it as, when I say it is going good, she used to mark it as green. Praveen, do you see any risks? Then I used to say, no, everything is okay. Then I used to say this. So she used to ask me typical questions like 4 to 5 questions. Is it on time? Then I used to say yes. Do you, do you see customer is happy? Then I used to say yes. Right? She used to ask such kind of questions and she used to prepare a report and share it to management. So now the point is I can falsify information, right? So let us imagine that something is not okay. There are some risks. Maybe I can tell her that there are no risks, right? So we used to have another project manager in our organization. So he used to, his projects normally don't go well. Okay. So what he used to do is he used to ask. He's a PMP certified person, PMP certified person at that point of time. So he used to ask, um, yeah, what did Praveen gave? What did some other person give for his project? Okay, and based on that, he used to give status. Suppose if I say that my project is not going okay, and then his project is also not going okay, then he used to say that his project is not going okay. If I say my project is good, and all the other project manager used to say their projects are good, though his project is not good, he used to say it is going okay. Okay, so it is because you know. It is because he doesn't want to falsify. The only thing is he want to have his impression, and at the same time he feels that he'll be able to pull it back to normal maybe in a week or two. Okay, so yeah, so what is happening is management is not getting correct information, right? So in order to make sure that management, what she was doing is she was just asking, right? Rather than asking, she could have actually gone into the project and asked certain reports. Can you show me project plan? Yeah, this is what. Can you show me status report? Yeah, yeah. If she sees both the things and she sees that there is a deviation between status report and project plan dates, then she can say it is red, right? If there is a deviation, she can say red. So she was doing her job, but the only thing is she was relying on project managers in order to get the information. But she was not getting proper information always. So what she has to do is, instead of asking us, she has to come into the project and ask some documents, and based on that, she has to understand what is the status of project. So that is project assurance. Okay. So project assurance is, getting into project, understanding documents, reviewing and approving documents, a lot of reports, and finally coming up with some kind of status. All right. It is not doubting people, rather it is just auditing and checking whether everything is okay, because project managers sometimes may miss certain things. Okay. So, and I have told that there are some kind of reports, but I told we'll discuss about all these reports and progress theme. But at this point of time, I say that there are two kinds of reports. One is called as time driven and event driven. So we'll see more about this when we are going through progress theme. Yeah, communication management strategy I have already shown you. So what are the things which will be present in communication management strategy? So these are important things, but it is not, you need not follow exact same contents. You can tailor it according to customers, according to your normal understanding. You can tailor it and you can present it. Like stakeholder analysis, what are roles and responsibilities? That is what is there in the guidelines. Timing of reports, who are interested parties, reporting, right? What are tools and techniques? Tools and techniques are not different. Tools and techniques are like, how do you want to communicate? There are some kind of tools, like we use Jira, right? Jira, and we give access to it so that customer can also see what is the burn down and velocity, right? Otherwise we can present in MPP plans and all, we can present in MPP or Excel sheets with in the form of graphs and all. So those are tools and techniques in order to communicate. Yeah. So this ends our second theme, which is called as organization. Any questions from anyone with regards to this? As well. Okay. So let's basically discuss about quality theme. There are good amount of concepts in quality theme. So we'll spend some time in order to understand what are the things which are present in quality. So we'll just try to understand some fundamentals of quality, and what is meant by quality management. So what does it actually include? You see a lot of things called as quality control, quality assurance, quality planning. What is difference, what is PD, what is PPD, right? So acceptance criteria, strategy, and all. So we'll try to take up one topic at a time, and we'll try to understand what is it. So as said a little while ago, so we don't have anything called as separate. We don't have any specific theme separately for requirements or scope. So whatever we are going to talk about requirements is part of quality. So let us try to understand this. Okay. So let us try to define what is meant by quality. Okay. So there are a lot of definitions. I mean, if you just try to Google and try to find out what is the definition of quality, then you'll end up finding lots of definitions, right? So but what we'll do is we'll try to understand what is quality according to our context or Prince2 context. Okay. So how do you define quality? Right? So maybe if you ask me, then I'll define quality as in a little simpler way. One thing is conformance to requirements, conformance to requirements, and plus another thing is fitness to use, right? So conformance to requirements and fitness to use is what is meant by quality, right? So whatever requirements customer has asked you, you need to provide, output for those requirements. And another thing is customers should be able to use that particular product. Once it gets into a product, customers should be able to use it. That's what is meant by fitness to use. Okay. So if you have seen the topics, and there are some concepts like quality planning, quality control, quality assurance, and all. So let us try to understand what is meant by quality management. Quality management, right? Like project management. What is quality management? So quality management includes four things. One is called as quality management system. I mean, this basically talks about what are the processes which you have, and it also talks about quality planning, right? And quality control and quality assurance, right? Okay, so what does quality management control management contain? Quality management contains quality management systems, how quality is being planned, and how quality is being controlled, and how we can assure quality. So this is what quality management system contains. So now what we'll try to understand is, right, what is QMS, what is this, what is this, and what is this. So we'll try to spend some time in order to understand all these things. Okay, so especially we'll spend some time in order to understand 2, 3, and 4, because that is what is important more than QMS. Okay, right. So I'll explain you what is quality planning now. I'm removing this, deleting this. Quality planning. So what is meant by quality planning? Right. So obviously, in order to manage a project or something, what you require a project plan, right? So in order to ensure that your product is having quality, you need to have something called as quality plan, which is part of project plan, right? But what does quality planning include is what we are going to understand. So quality planning includes certain things like customer quality expectations, right? It includes customer quality expectations, right? So what is customer quality expectations? For example, you know, uh, if customer is asking you to do something for a particular price, he will be having certain kind of expectations. So maybe you can take a small example, just in case if you are going to a going to some mall, and in that mall, if you're going to shop or stop or something in order to buy a Tommy Hilfiger t-shirt, then what is your expectation? It is costly, right? Compared with all the other brands, maybe Tommy is a bit costly, Gap is much more costlier. So what is the expectation, right? So you'll be having an expectation. So you can, maybe same color you can find in some same color, same kind of texture, maybe you can find it in some other brands as well. So if you want to buy a Tommy shirt, it is going to cost you 4K, and maybe if you're going for a little normal brand, same in shop or store, maybe you're going to get it for 1K, right? So you have certain kind of expectation. It is not just brand, but maybe the cloth quality. When you are washing it for 4 or 5 times, how the cloth uh, you know how the cloth will be after 4 to 5 washes. What is fitness, what is the material used, right? So all these things get into that. So what is customer quality expectation? So as you are customer, when you went to shop or stop, you'll have certain kind of expectations. Those expectations could be related to fitting, maybe related to how much longer time it will work. I mean, how many times you can use it, how many washes it will be okay. So all those things are your customer quality expectations, your expectations. So similarly, if you're buying any kind of thing, you'll be having some kind of expectations. So it is very important to write it. You have to write all those things, right? You don't tell it when you're going to buy a shirt, but obviously you're going to have certain things in your mind. And another thing is, what is your acceptance criteria? right? So you're going up with 4 to 5 expectations, like the color should be like this, texture should be like this, fitting should be like this, and maybe after 4 to 5 washes it should be like this. Just in case if it's not working out, you can return policy. So those are your expectations. So what is your acceptance criteria? Maybe acceptance criteria could be subset of customer quality expectations. Maybe your important priority is color and texture and fitting, right? These could be your acceptance criteria, right? So, and acceptance criteria can also include something like a budget, right? Your expectations are fine, but the thing is you want that in less than 3K. But expectations could be different. Expectations you are not going to talk about cost, maybe, right? But both are mapped to each other. Okay, so another thing is, so whatever, again, acceptance criteria you need to document. I'm just giving a small example of buying a shirt, so it doesn't make much of sense in documenting it. But obviously, if we are talking about a software product or complex product, so it makes sense in writing all those things, right? So when I said writing, I have used term called as write. So these things need to be documented somewhere. So these are documented in something called as PD and PPD. So I'll tell you what is meant by PD and PPD a little later, maybe in half an hour or so. So PD stands for product description, and PPD stands for project's product description. Okay, so what is the difference? They look a little similar, right? So let us try to understand what is the difference between both of these things at a little later stage. Okay, so this is what is quality planning, right? This is what is quality planning. So apart from this, I think you need to maintain something called as quality register and strategy. So there are 4 strategies. If you go through the slides which I have shared you yesterday, so there are 4 strategies, right? So one of the strategy, what are the strategies which we have covered till now are basically communication management strategy, and there is another strategy which we are going to talk about it, which is quality management strategy. That means what is your strategy in order to achieve quality? So how to write descriptions, what need to be communicated, what are the checks which you need to do? So all these things will be going into quality management strategy. Okay. So this quality management strategy is mapped with something called as quality register. So if you see some new terms, they're not new. These things are present, not only these 2 things, but including this, all these things are present in those 26 management products. These are not new things. Only those things when we are using is what I'm covering here. Okay, so this is what is meant by quality planning. Quality planning is to understand what are customer quality expectations, documented, what is acceptance criteria, documented. So obviously I told documented, so where you are going to document it? So you are going to document it in PD or PPD, and formulating a quality management strategy and maintaining a risk register is what is meant by quality planning. In order to achieve quality, this is what you need to do. Okay, now let us try to understand what is the difference between quality control and quality assurance. This is good thing which a lot of people misinterpret and understand it little differently. So I'll just try to explain what is quality control and uh, quality assurance. What is the difference between? So let us try to understand what is the difference between quality control and quality assurance. Okay, a lot of people, I mean, interchangeably use these things, but there's good amount of difference between what is meant by quality control and quality assurance. Okay, so let us try to understand differences. So in your organization, if it's a software organization, then obviously you'll be having a testing team, right? So testing team is basically considered as quality control. right? So testing team for a product is basically considered as quality control. So what is meant by quality assurance? So quality assurance people are those people who work on processes, right? So now a lot of people say that, interchangeably use it. They say, yeah, QA will be testing it. No, QA will not be testing it. So QA is totally different from what is quality control. So testing team should be typically called as quality control. Why they have to be called as quality control? Because I'll just try to explain you with the help of example. Y is equal to x1 plus x2 so on to xn, right? So what testing team will be doing is they will be typically testing they will be typically testing y. That means whatever product which you are going to give to testing team, they will be testing that particular product. Let us assume that you have given them a desktop application or a web app, web application. What they are going to do is they are going to check that particular application, see that particular application and see whether it is having quality or not. Again, let us try to understand what is quality. Quality is nothing but conformance to requirements and fitness to use. Okay, so they will see whether Y is conforming to requirements, whatever customer has asked, whether all those things are present in Y or not. Okay, and fitness to use, whether customer is able to use it or not, is another parameter which will be checked by testing team. So this is what is basically done by quality control. But if we are talking about quality assurance, I am using the same equation here, Excel, right? So quality assurance basically talks about X1, X2, so on to Xn. They don't test this, rather they test individual things. Okay, so if I have to tell in a different way, this is output, these are inputs, right? So in a typical software environment, what are all these things? Your output could be, as I said, it could be a web app. What are inputs? So inputs are typically, it will be having some kind of code, and you are having code reviews, right? So you are having code reviews, and what is the quality of code, and what is the style of images which you have kept? What are images which you have kept, right? And what is the performance? So if code is good, if code is properly reviewed, it is properly checked, right? And if it is looking, if the objects or images which are embedded inside that are quite good, and if performance of the application is quite good, then obviously your web application will be quite good, right? So all these things are basically inputs, right? So these inputs, if inputs are good, the output will be good. So people who work on inputs are basically the people who work on processes, right? You'll have, when I say code quality is good, that means you'll be having a coding checklist, you'll be having a review procedure, right? Images, what kind of images you have to use? You have to use JPEG or you have to use PNG, right? And performance, what are the tools which you use in order to have a optimized performance? Okay, so typically what I can say is development team can be quality assurance team, and obviously if you have processes team, then that particular team can be quality assurance team, right? So testing team basically checks the output. That is the reason why they are called quality control. They will check whether it is within the quality limits or not. They will control it. They are basically gatekeepers. If it's not okay, they will reject it. If it's okay, they'll say it's fine by seeing the output. Okay, so that's what is the difference between quality control and quality assurance. Okay, so yeah, I hope it is clear. Now what we'll do is we'll just try to understand what is project assurance. I'll not spend too much of time on project assurance because I have already given you an example. But let us try to understand assurance term. So assurance term is present in in Prince2. assurance term is present in two concepts. One is project assurance, and another one is quality assurance, right? So let us try to understand what is the difference between project assurance and quality assurance, because both are having a word common, which is assurance. So let us try to understand it. So project assurance is something which works at project level. So quality assurance is something which works at org level. Okay, and these people should be independent to project, and these people should be also independent to project. Then this one is basically responsibility of project board, and this is basically responsibility of corporate. That is what is difference between project assurance and quality assurance. So simple thing is project assurance operates at a little granular level than quality assurance, but both are independent, because if they are dependent, then what will happen is they'll get biased. Okay, so this is what is the difference between quality and project assurance. So let us see where we stand with regards to whatever the things which I have explained to you right now. Let's go back to PPT and see what are the things which we have covered. Okay, so I have explained you what is meant by quality. I have told you what is quality management system. So quality management includes, so you see this term, right? This includes quality planning, quality assurance, quality control, quality management systems. And we discussed about project assurance also. By we try to compare with other terms, and we try to understand what is the difference between quality control and quality assurance, and we try to understand the difference between project assurance and quality assurance as well. So now let us try to understand what is meant by QMS, quality management systems, right? So quality management system, I can say that this is something which operates at org level. I'll say okay, maybe I'll give you an example. So in some of the organizations, oh sorry, okay, yeah, in some of the organizations, I can say they define QMS in a different way. In some of the organizations, what they will do is uh, like that organization may have CMMI level 5 certification. Maybe there could be some organization which is ISO 9001 certified. Maybe some organization will follow their own efficient processes, and they will say this is in compliance with Six Sigma, right? So maybe some organizations, they have their own kind of approaches, maybe something like TQM, total quality management system, right? So if you see automotive, then automotive industry, then their quality management system is called as IATF 16949, right? So suppose if you see critical systems, and their quality management system could be something like ISO 26262, right? So these are all quality management systems which which will be adapted based on industry, right? So these are some of the quality management systems which I am aware of, but there are quite a lot of aware of, and yeah, I implemented all these things. So implemented or contributed to all these things, so I'm aware of these things only. So yeah, so this is what is quality management system. So you got a list of integrated procedures, policies, processes which you want your organization or everyone to follow it in order to provide consistent uh, you know in order to achieve consistency and in order to deliver a proper product, right? So this thing is called as quality management system. It contains policies, procedures, guidelines, and work instructions. So that's what it is. Okay, So I think we covered all this stuff. Now I'm going to talk about something called as Moscow, which is basically a prioritization technique. Okay, and we will try to understand. I think remaining things what we can do is we can go through slides and I'll explain you through slides because there are some examples. So by showing some examples, if I'm explaining what is the difference between PD, PPD and all, you'll be able to understand it. Okay, so now I'll explain you what is meant by prioritization technique. Yeah. So Prince2 defines, a prioritization technique called as Moscow, right? So MO stands for must have. Yes stands for should have. CO stands for could have, and W stands for won't have. Okay, so yeah, so these are the things. These are prioritization techniques. Suppose I want a particular thing to be developed, right? So for example, I want to develop a one page web application, one page, uh, what I can say, website, a single page website. Then what is that I'll do is I'll just categorize it. Must have is something like good look. It should good look, and it should have a lot of images. I am sorry, a lot of images, right? And should have could be performance. So I'm not too much worried about performance. That means if it is taking 5 seconds or 10 seconds in order to load that particular site, I'm like, okay. Could have is maybe some links to Facebook or Twitter. Won't have, I'll say this should not have any kind of photos of mine, my photos. It should not have any kind of photos. So what I have done is these are my requirements. I have just prioritized it with the help of a principle called as Moscow. These are the things which are must-haves. Yeah, and performances should have, links to Facebook and Twitter is could have, and won't have is photo of mine. So what I'll do is my acceptance criteria is I'll check this. Okay, so I'll check this. If these three things are present and this thing is not present, then I'm like, okay, I'll approve whatever work you have done, saying as okay, right? So this is what is prioritization technique. Now let me give you an example of agile or scrum. So in that, what does product owner do? So product owner, based on lot of requirements which are present in backlog, he will be doing prioritization. So in a sprint, what he will do, he will say that these are the things they should get into these sprints, and they'll give a little medium priority and low priority for the things which are like should have and could have, and won't have, they will put it on bottom of the backlog. Okay, so that's again that is how it again maps to agile environment or scrum. Okay, so sorry, so let's get back to presentation. So, and we'll go through presentation in order to understand certain other topics because it has an example. Maybe I'll show the example and I'll try to explain you other concepts. Okay, this I have already explained you what is quality, what does what are the four areas of what does quality management system contain, and I told you what is meant by quality planning, right? And I told you something about quality control and quality assurance. Maybe I have used a table in order to differentiate what is quality control and quality assurance. And I have told you what is the difference between project assurance and quality assurance. One operates at a project level and other operates at a org level. That is what is the primary difference. Yeah, quality assurance I have told you. Yeah, this is what I didn't explain you what is meant by customer quality expectations and acceptance criteria. So maybe this is what this can help you understand difference between customer quality expectations and acceptance criteria. Okay, so if you see all these parameters on the screen, then all these things talk about. Yeah, sorry, it's not. Why is it not working? One second. What happened? Okay, but still it doesn't stop. Okay, so if you see all these things, then what I can say is customer quality expectations are basically this is for a mobile phone. So if you see first point, like it basically says that all parts should work for 5 years, right? And this is a must-have requirement. And another, this one is like little old model mobile phone. Customer quality expectations or requirements, right? And it should be used, it should be easy to use. So how do you measure whether something is easy to use? So you can measure it with the help of a survey, right? You send a questionnaire to 1,000 people, and if 90% or 80% of the people say it is okay, it is easily usable, then what you'll do is you'll pass it. All right. Next, another thing is, it should support PC. It should support Windows, Linux, and Apple PCs. That means you should be able to connect to all these PCs, right? Like battery life, battery should work for 36 hours. So these are all customer quality expectations. If I have to put it in a different way, maybe I'll say these are all the requirements which customer is asking you in order to develop a mobile phone. So once you develop a mobile phone, then what customer will be doing is they'll be assembling it, and they'll be putting their own brand, packing and all, and they will be selling it into the market. Okay, that is what a lot of mobile phone companies do, right? Especially Apple. Apple doesn't manufacture. Yeah, they do it, but they have a very small manufacturing plant. Yeah, they will get a lot of things from different suppliers. Okay, so these are customer quality expectations, prioritization, and how to measure it. If you see this, so then there is something called as uh, for Bluetooth there is something called as, sorry, so for Bluetooth there is something called as compliance. So EC4563. So what is meant by EC4563? It should comply to that particular standard. So all the things can't be tested manually. If you see inspection, that means it is tested typically manually, right? So battery, you can't check it manually, right? You can't battery should work for 36 hours. It doesn't mean that a tester will be sitting with a mobile phone for 36 hours and they say, yeah, it is going well. You have to use machine, right? So that will actually check whether how much time your battery performance is. Quick charge 80%. It doesn't mean that you sit in front of each and every mobile phone, or random mobile phones, and say it is charging in 30 minutes. So you have to use machines for certain things because they are more reliable than persons. So now let us try to understand what is acceptance criteria. So as I have said little before, acceptance criteria is part of customer quality expectations, or subset of customer quality expectations. But there is a bit of tolerance level to it, right? So it is like unit manufacturing cost should be less than 50 euros, and project cost should be less than this, right? Easy to use in customer quality expectations, it is like easy to use, but here they have given some kind of some kind of tolerance. Easy to use for whom? Yeah, 1,000 people, but 90% of the people should say it is easy to use, right? So This is what is meant by acceptance criteria. Customer quality expectations contain everything. Acceptance criteria contains, some portion of those requirements with some kind of limits. And finally, you have to click yes or no. If it's yes, yeah. Finally, you have to use yes or no. If it is yes, then what will happen is, your product is accepted. Otherwise, your product is not accepted. Right? And there is project tolerance levels also. uh, I mean, if Apple is asking Samsung to provide displays, displays are not like in hundreds or thousands. It should be in millions. It will be in millions, right? So what they will do is they will say that I want 10 million displays, 10 million screens from Samsung by this particular time, right? When iPhone, I think iPhone 10 display is also made by Samsung. Even Google Pixel 2 display is basically prepared by Samsung. Pixel 2 XL, right? And Pixel display is prepared by LG, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so yeah, they want certain things at certain point of time. They said project time is 10 months. That means they want those displays within 10 months. And plus or minus 4 weeks is considered to be okay. If they are giving little late, then Apple might say, I don't want this, man, because time over. That is the reason why software industry is considered to be so simple, because if something is not okay, you're going to change some kind of lines of code and finally say it is working. But in hardware industry or manufacturing industry, very very important thing is time, time to market. Suppose if they are not giving in 10 months, if they are giving in 15 months, then what will happen is competitors pitch in. There'll be huge amount of loss. Okay, so for everything you see, there is tolerance. Easy to use. 9 people should say okay out of 10 people. And dimensions, I'm not sure why they are flexible here, because this is older phone. They say that 7.5 percentage of tolerance is considered to be okay. That means the display is coming little bigger also, it is okay. Normally there will be very very rigid thing. It should not be plus or minus 7.5. It should be maybe plus or minus 0.0075 maybe. Okay, so there is something called as quality register. I'll show you an example of what is quality register so that you'll understand how it looks like. So quality register basically contains quality parameter, who has prepared, who has reviewed, who has approved, when that particular item has been done, right? So whenever you see a term called as register, you see something called as a register, just imagine one thing like visitors register. You have seen visitors register, right? So if you are working in an IT park or something, there will be a visitors register where you are going to enter a lot of information, right? Your name, whom you want to meet, why you want to meet, where you came from, what is your address, what is your ID proof, maybe PAN card or something. Some people will take it, right? And they will be they'll be issuing a pass with your photo and all, and then you can enter into the premise. Right. So registers basically contain such kind of information. Quality register contains all the parameters related to quality with certain information. Quality management strategy. Yeah. So coming to quality management strategy, like communication management strategy, we have got quality management strategy, and there are two other strategies which are in Prince2. One is called as risk management strategy and configuration management strategy. So risk management strategy we are going to see when we are discussing about risk theme, and configuration management strategy we are going to discuss when we are discussing about change theme. Now we were discussing something on quality. We discussed about quality management strategy. In organization we discussed about communication management strategy. So there are four strategies which are present in Prince2: communication, configuration, quality, and risk. Okay, so these are not new terms. Out of those 26, the first four are strategies, right? So what does quality management strategy contains? Like communication management strategy, it also contains purpose, introduction, what is quality management procedure, what are tools and techniques, like in order to assure quality, what are the tools and techniques we use, Maybe if it's a hardware company, their tools and techniques will be little different. Software, it will be different. For everything, it will be little different. And what documents you want to maintain, how do you want to report quality, right? And what are the times you want to do checks, and what are roles and responsibilities. So this is what is typically present in quality management strategy. But again, I'll talk about something called as tailoring. This is what is a template which is recommended by Prince2, but you need not follow it. There is no hard rule that you should follow it. You can customize it. Suppose, for example, you don't want to include two things, right? You don't want to include two things. Maybe purpose you don't want to include in your or introduction you don't want to include. It's up to you. You can remove these things and you can have a different template. Okay, so rather than this, what I'll do is I'll tell you what's the difference between PD and PPD by comparing it. So if you see PD and PPD, they look a little similar. So there are certain things which I have highlighted here in yellow color, right? So that is what is commonalities between PD and PPD. So PD has purpose, PPD has purpose. PD has composition, PPD has composition. This has got derivation, this has got derivation. Development skills required, here also you have development skills required. So let us try to understand what are the things which are not common, right? So here you see a lot of things which are related to acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. And here you are seeing a lot of things which are related to quality, right? So in PD you are seeing a lot of terms or a lot of sections which has got something called as quality. In PPD you have got certain sections where you see a lot of things which are related to acceptance. So let us try to understand what comes first, whether it is PD or whether it is PPD, which comes first and why there is a difference, right? So first thing is you have PPD. So PPD comes first. First PPD will be prepared, then PD will be prepared. Okay. So what is the difference between PD and PPD is, though there are certain things which are common, right? So PD, maybe I have to tell it in a different way. PD is basically evolved from PPD, right? So PPD basically talks about what should be there, right? So PPD talks about, that means this first item basically talks about what should be there in order to accept the product, right? Then PD talks about what should be there to develop the product, right? This is, if these things are not there, customer will not accept it. But the thing is, you have to translate that into PD so that developer can understand what he need to develop, right? So typically these are acceptance criteria. If these are there, customer will accept. But what you need to do in order to develop it is present in PD, right? So both customer quality expectations and acceptance criteria is basically present in PPD, right? So customer quality expectations is present here and acceptance criteria is also present here, right? So this contains acceptance criteria and customer quality expectations. This is PD is basically evolved from PPD, and this is basically used in order to develop the product. Okay, so that is what is difference between PD and PPD. Okay, so there could be some kind of confusion here, so I suggest that you go through these slides. When I share these slides, go through these slides so that you'll not have much of confusion. And another thing is, with regards to PD and PPD, you will be having 2 out of 75. You will be having at least 2 questions in your foundation, and maybe some questions in your practitioner as well. Okay, something, they will give you a scenario and they will say, typically what is the first document which you need to look at, PD or PPD? So then you have to say PPD is what is the first document you need to look at. Okay, so as I have told, quality register. So whenever you see the term called as register, you just remember attendance register or visitors register. So it contains quality method, what is parameter, what is method, who was producing, reviewing, and approving it. So these are the things which you need to understand. And there is something called as in-process method and appraisal method. That means what are quality parameters which you are incorporating within process in order to complete that particular process. And appraisal method is something like, once the product is completed, review it and say that what are the things which are missing, and try to make sure that it works properly in the next iteration. So both are considered to be two approaches which are considered to be okay. Okay, both are good practices. Nothing is wrong. Okay, definitely, definitely you'll have one question from this. I think one. How many people are there now? Okay, I think I have lost Venkat. He'll connect again anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just continuing. So this is something which will come for your examination for sure, quality review technique. And first and important thing which will come for your examination is this, because I have seen a lot of people writing attempting questions, and I have seen some papers. So which one is not a quality review role or something, right? So chair, presenter, reviewer, and administrator, these are four quality review roles which are available. So chair is a person who will see everything, and presenter is a person who presents the product, reviewer is a person who reviews it, and administrator is a person who will provide administrative support. The name itself will tell, but very important thing which you need to understand is uh, the common question which you get in your examination is which one of the following is not a quality review role. So chair, presenter, something like executive, and administrator. So you need to identify which one is not a quality review role. Okay, so you can mark this. I can say 100% you are going to get this. At least 99% I'm confident that you are going to get one question out of this quality review role. Okay, and some generic roles and responsibilities. So very important role here is senior user, right? Because he's the guy uh, who is going to give the requirements. So he's the person who is very much considered with who is very important with regards to quality. So this is one of the important role when we are talking about quality. Senior user is very important role in quality. Okay, so anyways, obviously you'll have senior supplier and project manager. So what each and every person will be doing. But one of the important slide which I wanted to show you is this, right? So if you have any kind of confusions with regards to what is PD and PPD, you can just see this one here. So first what came? First PPD came, and PD is basically evolved from PPD. So that is what is meant by this. PD is basically evolved from PPD. So PPD talks about what should be there so that user can accept the product. So acceptance, will be acceptance, customer quality expectations and acceptance criteria will be present in PPD. So PD talks about what are the things which should be there in order to develop the product. Okay. So PD talks about what should be there in order to develop the product. Both customer quality expectations and acceptance criteria should be present in PPD. So if you are reviewing, if you are going through this particular slide, then obviously you will be able to adapt two questions in your examination. Okay, so yeah, so there are for example, if you attend PMP course, very important thing people will do is people will not tell you concepts. If he's a very good trainer, he'll not tell you concepts. He will only tell you like these are the things which you need to study in order to pass your examination, right? Because passing examination is considered to be very very important, right? Here in Prince2, passing is definitely important, but at the same time you need to understand the concepts, right? So for PMP, a person is considered to be a good trainer if he is telling you how to pass the examination. The way of communication is little different, you understand, right? So he will leave certain concepts and he will emphasize on certain concepts because those concepts will come for examination. But in Prince 2 it is other way. You need to understand the concepts. Passing is simple. Okay. So that's what is difference between approaches of PMP and Prince 2, at least. So yeah. Mm, with this, I can say that we have completed quality theme, and this is what is the assignment which I normally give to the people if it is a classroom based training, where I'll ask people to write some notes on it. So the thing is like if you are a keyboard manufacturing company, right? So a customer wants you to define what are the quality parameters for keyboard, right? So keyboard contains, you can put a lot of quality parameters. It could be there is something called as a chiclet keyboard or something. When you type it, then you should get that sound, right? Like tick 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 tick, right? So that is one of the quality parameter. And there should be 106 keys or 108 keys or something, so that is another parameter, right? There should be rupee shortcut, that is another parameter. There should be biometric inside a keyboard. And what is the connectivity? Do you want to connect it through USB or Bluetooth? That is another parameter, right? So you can classify all these parameters as must have, should have, and how you are going to measure it. And what is the color of keyboard? And it should be easy to type. The distance between two keys is how much? So all these things are very important, right? It looks so simple, right? Keyboard looks very simple, very very simple. It doesn't contain too much of electronics. But the thing is, there are lots and lots of parameters in order to define keyboard. Suppose if you sit and write, if you are watching the keyboard at this point of time, if you are in front of system, then you will definitely come up with 20 to 30 parameters. But technically, if someone want to manufacture keyboard, there will be 1,000 plus odd parameters, right? What, which key should be where. I mean, escape key should be present on extreme top. If you see Lenovo keyboard and if you see other keyboards, it is little different, right? So Lenovo keyboard will have function key at the end, left portion, extreme left portion, bottom left, right? And in other keyboards you will be having control key at extreme left. In Lenovo you'll have function key. So what is the size of each key? Maybe enter in some keyboards will be little smaller, enter button in certain keyboards will be little larger. So you have to define everything. What is the placement, where is it present, what is the connectivity, and what are the shortcuts, where should numbers be present, what are function keys and all. So in order to define quality parameters for keyboard, without having too much of knowledge, I think you will be able to come up with 50 parameters by just observing the keyboard. Okay, so that's about quality theme. So just to give you a recap, so what are the things which we have discussed in quality theme? We have initially understood what is quality, right? And we have seen what is meant by quality management. Quality management is equal to QMS plus quality planning plus quality control plus quality assurance, right? And we have discussed about what is quality planning, what is quality assurance, what is quality control, what is project assurance, what is quality management system. All these things we have studied. And another thing is we try to understand what is the difference between customer quality expectations and acceptance criteria, right? So and we try to understand what is the difference between PD and PPD, which comes first and which comes next, and what is quality register and quality management strategy, and what are important roles in quality, right? Quality review roles like administrator, chair, presenter, and reporter. So these are quality roles, right? This which I told it will come for your examination as well. And we have also discussed about prioritization technique called as Moscow, and what are project level tolerances. These are the things which are important in quality theme. Okay, so yeah, so that's, I think that is what I have in quality. And any questions with regards to quality from anyone? Okay, so for me it is a little simple because maybe initially maybe I might have struggled in order to explain this. Now it is It is so simple. I don't require presentation at all. I can just tell everything without on a whiteboard, without using support of any kind of presentations, because I gave lots of training, 60 plus maybe for sure. Okay, so but for you it is not that much of important because I am a trainer, so I may have to remember everything. Not mandate anyways, but it is good if I remember everything. But for you, you need to understand the essence of it.